Good afternoon. We are here in lovely and snowy Davos for the World Economic Forum 2018. Joining me today are some talented and brilliant leaders and participants of this year's forum. Let me start with them and let's know where you're from, your projects and your contribution to this year's forum.
Hi, I'm Hisham Mosawi, and I'm an engineer in a company called General Electric, where we work in the power industry to power the region. I work in different countries, and I support different countries, including Iraq and Kurdistan al-Iraq, where we are looking to increase the power output, reduce emissions, and make power available to the people in different countries. I'm interested in fourth industrial revolution. I've been participating in different sessions in this region.
Is this first year you participate, or?
It is. So we are part of 50 global shapers that have been chosen around the world to represent the 7,500 global shapers from World Economic Forum, and we are very honored to be the voice of youth in this forum.
Have you spoken in one of the panels?
I didn't, but I was an active participant in different sessions where I discussed the fourth industrial revolution, how it's affecting the future of work, how our regulations and governments are not ready enough for the fourth industrial revolution.
Pass it to Karuna. Karuna from Mauritius, an island in Africa, yes?
Yes, so my name is Karuna Rana, and you said it, Mauritius. So Mauritius is a small island nation in the Indian Ocean
Much
of Africa.
nicer than Davos or not?
Way nicer. We have sun all year long. All year long.
Do you have snow?
Not at all, not at all. We only have beautiful beaches and beautiful mountains. So this is very refreshing. The snow here is very beautiful. So what I do back home, well, back home I bring together young people from 7 small island nations in Africa and Asia to do environmental work. Now, environmental issues are very key to small island nations like Mauritius, and which is why some of the projects that we do are on energy, on water, on oceans, on climate change. One example is a project called Seeing Blue, where we are empowering the next generation of young people to come up with ideas to protect the ocean. And we are also training young people from climate vulnerable countries how to understand climate change negotiations at the United Nations so that they can bring a very strong voice to the policymakers, and which is why being here is really amazing. I've had the chance to meet a lot of high profile people, and coming from a small island nation which is underrepresented, it is a huge privilege for me to be the voice.
Do you have president, prime minister?
We have both. We have president and prime minister. Not directly, but our president did attend one of the sessions at Davos, and well, I had the chance to speak at a panel yesterday with Mr. Al Gore, and it was on climate change. Yes, it was on climate change, and as I said, it's a huge privilege to be able to bring the reality and voice of small island nations.
So, from India, yes?
Yes. Hi, I'm Kanika from India, from the Mumbai hub in India. So I work with an organization called IntelliCap, and we are committed to making business and capital more responsible. So what we do is we work with large corporates to make them more inclusive and sustainable, because business as it runs today will not take us very far. We won't be able to tackle issues like Karuna said, like climate change, if we continue business as usual. So I work with IntelliCap to make capital and business more responsible, more inclusive and more sustainable in emerging markets of Asia and Africa. I'm absolutely privileged to be one of the young global shapers, but more than that, I'm also extremely honored to be one of the young women represented here. So this year Davos has 21% women, which is the highest ever. So that itself is a small number, and it's great to see that 3 of us are among those women being represented here.
This year everyone talks about Indian economy, okay? It's on the lips of everyone. This year, 2018, is a year of economic growth in India. Your prime minister was here, and he was the first speaker. How do you feel? Everyone praising the economy of India and calling you a lucky country this year.
Well, to be honest, I do feel very proud, and it is a moment of pride for India, but also for emerging markets. I think it's great to see that a country from Asia is able to influence the conversation here, to influence large businesses, to influence other global leaders. So it's an absolute pride to be part of the Indian delegation and to see such interest and such excitement about the promise in India. I've never doubted it, so I'm glad that now the world is seeing it.
Your Prime Minister said he's not changing India, he's building a new India. What do you think of this?
Absolutely, yeah. So India is on the brink of some very exciting times. We will have the youngest population in the world. We're seeing big technologies emerging out of India, big technological innovations emerging out of India. There is a great impetus from the government to support entrepreneurship. There's a great impetus from the government to support inclusion with the very recent reforms around taxation, around financial inclusion, creating banks for all people that were underbanked or not banked. So it's great to see that progress is happening not just for the elite but also for the grassroots people, and that's what makes me very happy about the new India. Middle class and low income. So yes, there is a very conscious effort from the government and the business to create progress in India that is inclusive of all income levels. So right from the low income people, those that have absolutely no access to energy, no access to banks, we're creating that access. And also for those that are higher up. So I think it's a more equitable growth that we're seeing, which is what I think is the new India.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Basima. I am a global shaper from Erbil Hub, Kurdistan region of Iraq. I was selected to be one of the 50 shapers, one of the lucky ones. And I participated in 2 sessions. One was yesterday and one was on the 23rd, the first day of the World Economic Forum. We were talking about fragile cities on the first day of the annual meeting, and yesterday I was talking in a session about mapping the Arab world, and mainly my focus was about how to rebuild to be more sustainable, to be more resilient to crisis in future. From the community level, we do a lot of projects at our hub in Erbil. We have 450 hubs all around the world. But in Iraq, Erbil is the only hub we have. And at the personal level, I work at the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, and I started my green building consulting just 6 months ago.
So you were in a panel with David Cameron, former Prime Minister of UK.
Yes.
What was about it?
Well, it's about fragile cities, how to turn them to be more sustainable and to protect.
Can you give us some examples?
From my perspective,
yes,
or the political perspective?
What was his perspective and your perspective?
From his perspective, he was advocating to try when they, as international donors, were looking at the international communities, trying to assist countries such as Iraq and Syria, to make sure that the money donated to be spent towards making these communities and these cities more sustainable and resilient to crisis, not just held them one-time thing and. That's
I
it.
See. Now I have understood why you are here very well. Let me go to President Trump. He just delivered his speech. He talked about America first doesn't mean America is alone. You were in his session. Can you tell me what's your reaction? What do you think of his speech? Let's start with Karuna.
Oh, that is a very interesting question. Well, I think personally his speech is like any other speech that he's given, and the one thing that is true is that America cannot be alone. Given that I work in the environment sector and climate change is important to me, I can tell you...
Like this? Oh, sorry.
So as I work in the environment and climate change sector, I can tell you that climate change is going to affect everyone, including America.
He doesn't like climate change, yeah?
He doesn't, but a lot of Americans do believe in climate change, and they are taking action with or without him. In fact, yesterday, when I was speaking at the panel on climate change with ex-Vice President Mr. Al Gore and other amazing speakers, some of which are from the US, we actually talked about it, and we said we need to thank the President Trump because he is bringing us together. He's bringing Americans together. He's bringing the world together to tackle issues which otherwise would be very difficult for us to come together. So I would say that, thank you. Thank you for bringing us together to tackle all the big issues of the world.
If you had a chance to ask him, what would be your question?
If I have a chance to ask him, I would really want to ask him, I would give him statistics about fossil fuel use, and almost 6.5 million people in the world die due to air pollution, which comes from the use of fossil fuels, especially coal. And I would want to ask him, what is his solution to that? Because he's investing in more coal.
Hisham, he didn't mention anything about Middle East, yeah? What is your reaction?
So President Trump had a visit to the Middle East, especially Saudi, Bahrain, and the UAE, and he made a lot of deals out of it. So the question for him is, why are you making deals out of from our money, where we have people who are in need of that money? So he brought businesses back to the US to offer jobs in there and to make America better, but he never considered the people back in Middle East. So do we really need to invest that much of projects in the international companies he has in our region?
So you are against the deals?
I am not against the deals, but maybe there are priorities that we need to look
But
at.
he says America is first, and he asks other leaders to say, my country is first.
Unfortunately, but working in an international company, and it's an American one, I can see that how our deals are being done. And it seems like he's using his relationships and the political relationships to get more deals into his country and not to others.
Let's hear Kanika.
I heard his speech today, and I must say that I was thankfully not surprised by anything irrational, but I did think it was an extremely selfish speech for someone speaking on such a large stage, where the theme of the summit was around creating shared value. He only spoke about America.
So
And he did not speak about how America can work to make the world a better place. He very, I think, selfishly only spoke about how to make America great again. So I mean, I'm not disappointed. I expected it, but I was hoping it would be different.
Yes, how was your reaction?
Well, I have the same opinion as Kanika. I was not surprised. I actually thought he was more gentle than the usual. Well, take into consideration that we have all the state leaders and the world leaders sitting there watching. But he kind of talked about Middle East, Syria and Iraq, and liberating 100% of the previously ISIS occupied areas, and praising the United States forces for supporting these countries in fighting terrorism. But in terms of all the other main points that he highlighted during his speech, I was not surprised, but I do agree with Karuna that United States already have so many stakeholders working on the key issues that Trump is trying to overlook in reforms and policies that he is trying to revise somehow.
Talk about your participation in the panels as a speaker and some of you as participant. Tell me, what have you learned during your stay in this great event in Davos? Let's start with Kanika.
I go back with a lot of hope.
Yes.
And a lot
tell
of
me examples.
I think it was great to hear. We had a session with Jack Ma. It was great to hear his commitment to make the world more sustainable and inclusive, but more by empowering people, by giving people job opportunities, by giving people a platform for entrepreneurship like Alibaba does. It's great to see that business leaders are taking active part in conversations around inclusive development and sustainable development and willing to commit their resources
Yes.
to that. So I go back with a lot of hope, and
So you
that's
have
my
learned
learning.
many things.
I have learned a lot of things.
Was it measure up to your expectation?
Yes, it was an absolutely fantastic 5 days to be sitting amongst such accomplished people, people with such stature, and the fact that we were able to contribute our thoughts and that they were willing to listen to us.
There are so many things I've learned that I don't know where to start, but I will give you a couple of examples. One key thing that I've learned is the importance of building relationships. And the biggest example is the relationships that the 50 of us, as part of the Global Shapers community, has built.
Relationship between you and leaders, or
It could be between us and leaders, but also amongst ourselves who are leaders in our own right. And amazing and inspirational leaders. The second thing that I've learned is that the fourth industrial revolution is coming and is here to stay. So whether we are ready or not, you have to prepare yourself for it.
have you prepared yourself for this revolution?
I didn't think that I was ready, but after this meeting, I feel a little more ready, and I'll go back home and
Then before
Do
you go
more.
home, give us some advices. Let's hear
what kind
What
of
should we do?
advice?
to face this new revolution.
I would say read up and learn as much as you can. Don't be scared of technology. And something very simple that I'm going to do when I go back home is learn how to code.
How to?
Code.
Oh, good.
There are a lot of free courses available online, and
So you should visit India, yeah?
no, there are a lot of online courses available from the best universities, and a lot of them are free. It's very easy to learn how to code, and I think in the next generation of works that's going to come, coding will be very, very important.
Yes. Hashim, tell me about your experience.
I would emphasize on what Karuna said. Fourth industrial revolution is here, and every day we don't prepare ourselves, we will be late for years. So we need to focus. We start from education. Nowadays, kids will not need to learn letters and numbers. They will need to learn coding and how to use computers and technology. Nowadays, we need to change our regulations in the government side to allow these technologies and using cloud services and using all the things that are being introduced in fourth industrial revolution in an easier way. Nowadays, if a company like Uber comes to our region, they struggle to find the right regulations that help them to work. So we really need to look at it from two perspectives: educations and regulations from governments, and in the same time work on the people to be open to learn continuously in order to be ready. And the ones that don't do, they will be left behind. Other than this topic, I would also say women empowerment was a big topic in this forum. I really appreciate how leaders, men before women, were supporting how women should go work and
How
be
can
up
you
in the
apply
ladder.
this in your country?
So what I am doing from my side, I empower young technology female engineers to get more jobs, to get exposed. I am working on having hackathons that will allow them to practice their coding skills, their fourth industrial revolution skills, and real projects for companies. So this is what I'm working on, and we want more female participants. And also we will work on helping young girls to learn coding, for instance.
Guys, you are very optimistic about this revolution. What about the dark side of it? Losing jobs and unemployment?
Okay, so also it was the future of work that been introduced in this. It was said 1.8 million jobs will disappear, but we are having 2.3 million jobs added. So we need to revolve our skills, to be open to learn and change our own skills. These days, maybe every year you have to learn something new just to get a new job or to get new skills at your job. You cannot be static on what you are doing because the change is changing fast, and we need to change fast with it.
Yes, Basima?
So, in terms of the fourth industrial revolution, the world is evolving, and we are going forward. Whoever is not going to adopt this new goal and this new concept is going to be left behind, and everything is happening so quickly. It's very important to incorporate all these new technologies, all these new concepts and way of thinkings and techniques in design and building and especially in different aspects, whether it's education, whether it's and other like policies and design and construction, if we're talking about my field. So it's important that we keep up, not to say that we are not ready. No, if all the developed and developing countries are going towards adopting this concept, we are not supposed to sit back and complain that this is too advanced for us. No, we need to work really hard, invest so much to at least catch up, or not to be left so way behind.
But I'm from Erbil too, from Iraqi Kurdistan. Do you think our market in Iraq and in Iraqi Kurdistan, or our education, go along with this revolution, or we are much behind?
We are behind. That's why. Well, the education, like not only in Iraq, in so many countries, is it's outdated.
Yes.
It's been there for like hundreds of years. So it's time to try to update it.
So how can you make change in this area where outdated education is still there?
First of all, we need to adopt the most recent. There are a lot of research. There are a lot of new techniques that has been introduced to teach people that the most effective way for teaching. This old-fashioned way of teaching, let's say, go read this, go memorize this, and come back. This is not working. And the most important part is to incorporate technologies in education. So I believe the limit is the sky.
I think you have learned a lot. Let me finish with one question. Just give me a sentence as an answer. Do you think the WEF, the World Economic Forum, will affect the world positively? Yes, Hash.
These discussions has to happen. We need to bring governments and private sectors, entrepreneurs and civil society all together.
Yes, Karuna?
Yes, it has impact, and I'm going to start by the global shippers community that is here. A lot of us have come with projects, and we are going to go back and continue having even bigger impact.
Absolutely. I think the World Economic Forum will have a positive impact on the world because of the kind of people it brings together.
You're having state leaders, entrepreneurs, and CEOs all in the same place. There has to be some discussions that are going to bring those stakeholders together to find solutions for global issues.
Once again, thank you, Hisham from Bahrain, Karuna from Mauritius, Kanika from India, Basima from Iraqi Kurdistan. Thank you very much for joining us here from Davos. See you.